I guess we can get started over here. So, well, what's the agenda for today? I'll talk a little bit about myself, then talk about some of the maturity models, that is BSIMM, SSDF, OWASP, SAMM, and DSOMM. And following with that, what are the differences and what to choose for your organization? Well, who am I? I'm an associate principal consultant at Synopsys, and I've been with them for 8 years now, and in this field for around 14 years. I started off with security operations and AppSec, moved on to source code reviews, vulnerability management, SAST, pen tests, and after which I did a DevSecOps for a long time, and just recently started doing BSIMMs, SSDFs, and AppSec gap analysis for our clients. In my personal time, I like to hike, read fiction, thrillers, and host board game nights. I also volunteer and foster for a local rescue here in Massachusetts. So let's start with the topic of discussion today, maturity models. Specifically, AppSec maturity models. The ones I will be talking about are BSIMM, SSDF, SAMM, and DSOMM. Right? Just making sure that if everyone can see here. So what is BSIMM? It's a proprietary framework by Synopsys, and it's now in its 14th iteration. They're actually going to release it soon. It was started in 2008, and it's a descriptive model where the assessors interviewed different people in AppSec, such as the CISO, AppSec team, GRC, development teams, DevSecOps, architecture team, and incident response. They try and understand the current program across 125 activities. Now, these activities are spread across 12 domains. That's strategy and governance, compliance and policy, training, attack models, security features and design, standards and requirements, architecture analysis, code review, security testing, penetration testing, software environment, configuration management, and vulnerability management. Now, these assessments need to be done by an assessor who's certified within Synopsys. The results of the assessment are stored in a data pool where it's anonymized, and then trends are generated based on what is observed across all the organizations and within the domain that that organization is in or the client is in. These activities are arranged based on how frequently they are observed across all the data, all the sample sets that we've got. So if we see a certain activity that's being done a lot across all and it seems to be pretty basic, then it's considered a level 1 activity. Otherwise, if it's not so frequent, depending on how frequent it is, it could be a level 2 or a level 3 activity out there. You either score a point or you don't out there. The BSIMM clearly states what needs to be done to score a point, or it's not exactly a point, but to score a yes to an activity, that you are actually doing that activity. Some of the activities may not be applicable, for your organization, but it's pretty rare. The BSIMM framework clearly defines what is required to score and what is considered incomplete. The assessment is not an audit, and the assessors will accept what is said to them. They are not doing an audit. So let's say you're from an application security team and you say you are doing pen tests. They will accept that, but they will go a little bit into more details as to how do you do these pen tests. Is it an internal team? Is it an external team? Or is it, for example, what tools do you use? What do you check for over there? Sorry about that. And then, so they do not ask for evidences. We also sometimes just ask for probably the policy document, how it is, just to see what are you actually doing in terms of policies, but we do not use that as an evidence as such. So next, what is SSDF? Secure Software Development Framework. This is defined by National Institute of Standards and Technology, that is NIST, and it was first published in Feb 2022. The aim of this framework is to provide teams with secure SDLC to adhere to, and then use the same to share it with the consumers of your product or your application as an attestation that the product was developed using a secure development methodology. And then thereby it should be secure. It was recently updated with the requirements of the Executive Order 14028, which is pretty much famous for SBOMs, and the framework is defined under NIST SP 800-218. A lot of numbers coming out here. And this can also be done as a self-assessment. The documentation provides several examples on what can be accepted for a task. The documentation also shows how it maps to different frameworks that exist today, including SAMM and DSOMM. You can provide partial scores as well. The framework does not clearly specify what scores can be provided in the range of 0 to 1. And so you can give partial scores over it. It could be 0.25, it could be 0.33. The framework doesn't define what exactly is the scoring methodology, or rather what can be used as a score between 0 to 1. It's up to you. And then it is this, because there is no clear definition on how it is scored, there can be some assessor bias coming in out here. Now, SSDF focuses on the outcomes of the SDLC process across 4 practices. That is preparing the organization, protecting the software, producing well-secured software, and respond to vulnerabilities. An example of an outcome could be vulnerability management policy out here. I'm just quickly going to check if there are any questions. Not yet. All right. Moving on. Our next one is OWASP SAMM. So what is SAMM? SAMM stands for Software Assurance Maturity Model. It was established by the OWASP project in 2009 and is an open framework that offers organizations a basis on which they can build a security program. It is a prescriptive model that is based around 15 security practices across 5 business functions. And each practice has a bunch of activities, which each of this has 3 maturity levels. So you can, each activity needs to be, you have 3 levels to perform on it. So that's why the 3 maturity levels. The 5 business functions include governance, design, implementation, verification, and operations. While the practices include strategy and metrics, policy and compliance, education and guidance, threat assessment, security requirements, security architecture, secure build, secure deployment, a lot of secure stuff, defect management, architecture assessments, requirement-driven testing, security testing, incident management, and environment management and operational management. It provides an advice on how to reach a certain level of maturity and can be self-assessed. This is again a self-assessment done. There are companies that provide SAMM assessments, or there are also who are called certified assessors, but OWASP doesn't endorse them. However, you need to be a certified assessor to add data into the data pool. SAMM just recently started the benchmark project where you can add data into the data pool, but only certified assessors can add that info over there. Once they complete the assessment, they send an email to the benchmark team, and then they're given an ID for referring to that client, and the data is anonymized and then stored in this benchmark project so that you can get a report to do a bit of comparison. This came out of a survey that they did in 2022, where 70% of the respondents said, yes, we would like to compare our results with other organizations, our peers out there. But however, as of today, there are not enough data points. So it does not clearly state how many data points has it got as of today. So what is DSOMM? DSOMM, or DevSecOps Maturity Model, is an OWASP project focused on securing DevOps. The idea came into existence in 2017, and since then has evolved into a framework which is still being updated and slowly being adopted. This evaluates each project's DevOps model and determines if it's secure enough. It evaluates the DevOps model for the team across 18 sub-dimensions: build, deployment, patch, management, design, education. There will be repetitions out here. Application hardening, development and source control, infrastructure hardening, logging, monitoring, application tests, consolidations, dynamic depths. For applications, for infrastructure, same goes for static depths out there. Now, each of these sub-dimensions are evaluated up to 5 levels of maturity. In some cases, a level may be missing as per the model, and maturity levels range from basic understanding adoption to advanced deployment of the security practices itself. Again, this can be self-attested. For each activity, it gives you examples on how one can reach a maturity level, but it is still not clear whether you have, in some cases, they've given multiple requirements, but it's not clear whether you have to meet all the requirements or is it just one requirement so that you reach maturity level, let's say 3 or 5. And there are specific examples on how, for commonly known or popular technologies as well. It also describes the risk if they are not attained. The activities are mapped to OWASP SAMM and ISO 27001. Even though this is supposed to observe security features applied in the DevOps model, what I've seen is that there isn't much in terms of securing the pipeline itself. So what is this? What is same? What is different? You've heard so far, you can hear some differences, but you can also hear some commonalities. So let's just quickly discuss about that. BSIMM and OWASP SAMM are similar in terms of focus, in the sense that they are both into AppSec activities and SDLC activities, AppSec Program and SDLC activities. However, while BSIMM is a descriptive model, OWASP SAMM is prescriptive. That means BSIMM will describe what activities the program is doing. BSIMM assessments will also OWASP SAMM prescribes you what you should be doing out there. BSIMM assessments can obviously be done just by Synopsys only. No one else can do it, while OWASP SAMM and the rest of it are self-assessments. Also, while BSIMM has a broad reach, a wider coverage, OWASP SAMM tends to go higher or deeper in terms of a specific focus area for evaluating it. OWASP SAMM gives weightage to each activity, and partial scores and given, but with BSIMM it's just 1 or 0. Now you have to meet the requirements of the activity, else you do not score a point in this case. NIST SSDF also offers an option to score partially, and they're making it a little bit more lenient, while BSIMM is a lot more conservative. DSOMM doesn't have a scoring capability. You just have to select maturity levels based on certain activities being done. NIST SSDF and OWASP DSOMM are relatively new compared to BSIMM and OWASP SAMM. However, NIST SSDF is gaining a lot of popularity because it's being backed by the US government, and therefore there's a potential of it being used in future contracts. In terms of the activities, BSIMM dives a lot into the use of threat intelligence and under attack models and other forms of act penetration testing, but OWASP SAMM is a lot more narrowed. And in terms of just the SDLC process, compared that to NIST SSDF, it is a lot more focused on developing and protecting the code and has detailed activities listed for the same. There's minimal focus on training and policy development, and all 4 models check on BOM SSDF being most. However, DSOMM is the only model that touches lightly on security of the code itself and focuses a lot more on the secure processes to handle the same. And there are only 3 activities there that tell you to do a security scan, and also working on the vulnerabilities with different maturity levels. And DSOMM focuses on ensuring secure processes in just the DevOps process. We do have 2 activities that talk about source versioning, tool protection, and infrastructure protection, but again, these do not cover the entire gamut. Then BSIMM and OWASP SAMM have clear instructions. Same cannot be said for NIST SSDF and DSOMM. Quickly doing a time check. I think we still have a few minutes. Last, what to choose, depending on what you are looking to evaluate. You can pick and choose the model that's right for you. If you're looking to evaluate or benchmark your application security program and compare yourself to your peers, BSIMM is the assessment for you. You also need the budget for the same. But if you just need a smaller version of it, more focused to SDLC, OWASP SAMM and NIST SSDF could work for you. If the focus is more towards providing a sort of attestation for your product, NIST SSDF is probably a better choice. DSOMM can be used by DevOps or DevSecOps professionals to see how they're doing in terms of securing the pipeline compared to the industry out there. Sorry, I rushed out a bit, but looking at the time, That's about it. Thank you for joining the session. If you have any questions, please paste it on the chat. If not, you could always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I can definitely answer any questions that you have. Oh, I do have some time, actually. Any questions over here? All right, I don't see any questions, but feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, or you could also, connect on the event chat as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.